Okay, so my buddy Luke, who I met in Peru, he left a comment on yesterday's video saying that he'd like to see a video about the ayahuasca experiences. Were they what I expected, and how were they helpful for me? Before I get into that, I just want to touch on what ayahuasca is, since I feel like I've posted a few things about it, and I think few people don't really know what it is. So what ayahuasca is it's a vine, and the vine is native to the Amazonian region. It's the Banisteriopsis caapi vine. That's the actual ayahuasca vine. And when people talk about ayahuasca, though, they're typically referring to the brew or the concoction, the combination of ingredients. One is the caapi vine, and one is the Psychotria viridis, which is the chacruna leaves. Both of those ingredients contain the psychedelic or psychoactive compound, and then dimethyltryptamine, DMT. That induces most of the effects. But what happens is if you ingest DMT orally by itself, by the time it makes its way through your system, the DMT gets broken down in your liver and your gastrointestinal tract by monoamine oxidase enzymes. One of the other key ingredients in the chacruna leaves, the Psychotria viridis, is monoamine oxidase inhibitors. So they allow the DMT to traverse through you and remain bioavailable for the effects of the tea. So that's what it is. It's a brew. Was it what I expected? I didn't really know what to expect, honestly. And I almost want to say I approached it the wrong way. I knew I always wanted to go and experience this, amongst other things, but one of the reasons why I expedited that process was because I did I induced some trauma to myself on a Friday evening back in October on the 11th. That kind of fucked me up for a little bit, and I kind of needed some special kind of help to undo the damage that I did. So I landed myself in Peru in December, and was it what I expected? I really didn't expect much. I didn't know what to expect. I knew I was going to meet Hamilton because I'd done a lot of research beforehand, and I'd found a credible place to go. Hamilton's their founder of Blue Morpho down in Iquitos, Peru, and so I knew I was going to meet him. Outside of that, I had no idea, how to navigate internationally as a civilian. I did that in the service, but never just by myself. So, I got my shit together for that, and I landed myself out there, and I got to where I was supposed to be, and I showed up, and it's this really gorgeous retreat, and a bunch of strangers, people from different walks of life, and we meet Hamilton that afternoon for lunch, and he explained to us, that first night we're going to be drinking, and so we're out there for a week. We drink 5 times. The first 3 days consecutively, and then we take a day off, and then it's the last 2, because DMT has this weird effect where, unlike other drugs, medicines, where when you take them consistently, there's a tolerance buildup. The DMT does the exact opposite. Every day you drink consecutively, the compounding effects are increased. So, and this might be a longer video, but there's so much to say, but I'll try to try to be concise. Was it what I expected? I showed up feeling like I needed to, I don't want to say pay penance. I felt like I deserved a judgment for a certain way that I had been over the years. And that's kind of what I got the first night. we have intention sheets that we fill out before every ceremony. You know, we write out what we want to get out of that ceremony. It kind of gridlocks it in your mind, and it lets the medicine know your intent so you can fulfill that during the ceremony. And we let the shamans know, the curanderos, the ayahuasqueros, the whatever you want to call them, what we're trying to do that night. And we go into ceremony in the evenings. You know, you go up to the shaman, and you can either decide how much you want to drink, because you can request as much as you want, or if you feel uncomfortable or you don't know how much you want, you can ask the shaman, like, these are my intentions, like, what do you think? And they'll assess you. You know, it's what they do. And they give you your dose, you go back to your seat, and once everyone's received, you know, their cup, they turn the remaining lights off. It's basically pitch black, with the exception of the red lights being carried around by the facilitators who walk around during ceremony to help people. And that first night I had a full cup. And my intention kind of surrounded the idea of death, because I kind of struggle with my mortality a little bit. And what ayahuasca or a lot of other psychedelics will do is they like to take something that you're uncomfortable with, that you've stuffed into a corner of your house. Well, they'll kick down the fucking door, break the lock you put on it, and they'll drag it out, put it right in front of your face, and put a fucking flashlight on it, and it makes you deal with it. And there's no way around it. And I think that first night I kind of capsized myself by drinking that much, and going in with that amount of anxiety and panic and fear, and it got dark. That first night was really fucking dark, and that was the first night. They explain it to us that the first 3 nights are typically darker because people are working out their problems. You know, a lot of people come there for different reasons. Some people were sexually abused, some people were, you know, just regular domestically abused, they were verbally abused, physically abused, there's trauma, there's rape victims, there's people who lost their kids, there's people who are coming home from war, people got their fucking issues, and they go there, and ayahuasca lays all that on the table and shows you your problem, but at the same time helps you try to fix your problem. And you go through it, and it's uncomfortable, and I think that's the nature of real change and real healing, is sometimes shit's got to be uncomfortable. And but that's why the shamans are there to help you. So, you know, throughout the week I had, you know, different intentions, and I basically had a bad night 1 through 4. Like, they say it's supposed to, you know, lighten up around the 4th and 5th ceremony. Well, I continued to get my ass kicked the first night through the 4th night. And by the 4th night, I had nothing left in me. And I went to one of my shamans, and whom I still talk to now, and he helps me out a lot with stuff. I kind of see him as a mentor now. And I went to him, and I was like, dude, like, I thought this shit was supposed to heal. Like, you're supposed to help me. Like, it's just nothing but black and hell and fucking dark shit every night. Like, like, I see my problems, but I don't want to just go every night getting them smeared in my face. Like, what do I do? And he was like, okay, well, it's not so much about how much you drink, because you don't need to get your ass kicked anymore. You already know what your problems are. What you need to do is take just enough, you call it an integration dose, to help you process. And you know, you don't need such a heavy hand anymore. So we're going to give you an integration dose, which was just basically like a thimbleful. And I kind of wrestled with myself on that 5th night, because, you know, throughout the week everyone else seemed like they were getting healing and help, and I felt like I wasn't. I felt like I was just going to war every night with Aya. So I finally tried to stuff that, you know, my weapon of choice aside and try to take the passive approach. And I let him dose me that night. I was like, you choose my dose. He gave me that thimble. I went back to my seat, and like a quarter of the way through the ceremony, I started to get mad at myself for, like I came all this way. I went to another country, like, to do this life-changing, profound thing, and like I'm gonna back out on the last day. And I felt uncomfortable with that. Like, the last thing I need is to go back to the States and feel like a fucking coward. So mid-ceremony, they open an invitation to whoever wants to approach the altar and receive more ayahuasca. They can do that. So my last night, I did that halfway through. I was like, I don't want to drink more of that shit because I know the place it's going to take me, but I'm not going to go home hating myself so much that I have to come back here and do this all again. So I went back up there and I was like, hey, I'd like to receive another helping of Aya. And he was like, well, how much? And I said half a cup, because when I say cup, we drank from shot glasses. So like this is a lot in a shot glass for that stuff. And he doesn't give me half of a shot glass. He pulls out a fucking plastic cup that some people had been having throughout the week, and people drink different dosages. Everyone's different, but I didn't think I was ready for that. And he poured it up, and I looked at him and I was like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "You'll be fine. Just trust me." And he's my shaman. He's my mentor. And he became my friend, so I was like, okay. Alright, I'll drink it. So I drank it, and by the way, that shit tastes disgusting. Ayahuasca is gross. It tastes like if you lit mud on fire and then poured pepper in it. And it's disgusting. So I went back to my seat, and without going into too much detail, like I can go hours on this. That night went well. That night went so well that it took all of the surgeries from the first 4 nights, stitched me up, and put gold laminate on it, and fucking scooted me out of ceremony at the end and was like, you're good to go. And I had never been so goddamn... I've never cried of happiness in my entire fucking life. And I don't know, I felt it was different. When I fucking broke myself on that Friday in October, like, a part of me died, it was gone, I was living fractured. And then that last night of Aya, I came out feeling like another just new person. The shit actively recodes how you think, who you are, what you perceive to be important. Everything gets rewired. And it's typically in a positive manner, so long as you go to a place with good intentions, with people and facilitators who are there to help you. Blue Morpho is one of those places. Day-to-day life, so to answer Luke's second part of this question, how has it helped me after the fact? So what they call that is reintegration. Ayahuasca can show you all your problems, give you your answers, but it's up to you to do the work. You can't just drink it and it fixes all your shit. Like, you go home with lessons, and then you have to apply it, in sober everyday life. You take what you learned and you apply it. So I've actually been doing that. I've been taking a lot of time and steps and being meticulous to change things about me, how I do things. I'm trying to change my thought patterns, build good habits. It takes time. It's like you have to break old habits that I've had in stone for years and reestablish new ones that are professed to be conducive towards a healthy lifestyle. So I'm doing everything I can to do that. That's typically to wrap it up. What it is. Was that what I expected? No, it wasn't. I don't think you can prepare for that. I don't think you can expect the unexpected. That's all you can do with Aya, because every time you think you know what it is, it's something else. And she doesn't give you what you want; she gives you what you need. And sometimes it's a hard smack. I'm gonna put some links down in the bottom in the comments for one, the documentary on the ayahuasca that covers the actual place that I went, Blue Morpho. Two, one's was it Healthline? I wrote this shit down. Yeah, there's a page called Healthline that covers the more scientific aspect side of it if you're interested in the actual benefits that have been documented and researched medically of ayahuasca or DMT. I'll also include the link to MAPS, the multidisciplinary affiliation of psychedelic studies. They do a lot of the research on psychedelics, and they're the ones kind of pushing the promotion of, decriminalizing or legalizing and promoting the actual good benefits of psychedelics and all the research across the board. So I'll include that link. I'll include the actual Blue Morpho page, so if you want to look at who they are, what they are, who's running it. And then I will also put actually that's it, just those 4 links. And again, Luke, there's so much to say. You were there with me. I really enjoyed meeting you. You and your girl Jen, beautiful people. So thank you guys so much.